and welcome back to the Healing Entrepreneur podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, Katonya Trent, author of 22 and 6, born on 11/26. And the subtitle is Through the Lens of a Mother's Fight for Life, the Everlasting Life. And that is such a powerful title. And we're going to be getting into everything that inspired this book and just hearing more from Katonya. I'm going to read a little bit of her bio. So, Katonya Trent was born and raised in Riverhead, New York, located on the east end of Long Island. After having a traumatic birth experience, she was inspired to become an author. Her son has helped her change her perspective on life. She is on a mission of bringing her story to light while educating the world about the challenges that could arise from having premature birth. By sharing her story, she hopes to reassure others of their inner strength when being placed in some of the most difficult situations in life. And for that, I truly believe you are one of God's angels doing the work. And we were also, so blessed to have Katanya's work in issue 5, Motherhood. She is SBG fam. And I'm going to stop talking on and allow Tanya to introduce herself.
Yes, thank you so much for having me and for creating such an amazing platform, a safe space for families and friends and undeserved and unrecognized writers and people to be able to provide the world with our craft and our unique stories. My name is Katonya Trent. I am an author. I am a social impact speaker. I am a premature birth advocate. But the most important title that I carry in life is being a mom to a former 22-weeker whom I unexpectedly delivered at home alone. And he is now 7 and thriving.
What a blessing. Yes.
Yes.
And we just love that you have captured your story in words and that you're sharing it with us. Like, it's such a personal, such a deep and emotional topic, and something that's so sensitive, like, among women and even in women's health spaces, because, the fear and, the grief that often surrounds this topic. So, I applaud you as a mother, as a writer, just someone who is a creative for putting this work into the world because I know that it already is speaking to a lot of women's experiences that, they never got to really process or talk to anyone else about. And you have captured that in your book. So hats off to you.
Thank you so much. It's It's interesting because I feel as though like society only display the beauty of childbirth and pregnancy, and not to say that my story doesn't have any beauty in it, but there are times where there is trauma, there's struggle that we face, and too often women are afraid to speak up. I know for me personally, I felt ashamed and embarrassed at one point, and I think it's because society has placed such a stigma on what childbirth should look like, what pregnancy should look like, and people are afraid to express and to show the vulnerability of it, the trauma of it. And also in our community, we often don't speak about the things we go through because we feel like that shows weakness, but it actually shows strength. It shows courage. It shows the world that things are not perfect, things are not in our control, and
Mhm.
that we can get through it as well. So that is a big reason too why, I think it's so important that we continue to share our stories with one another. And also, it's a part of our history. So it's very important that we share not only the good but the bad, the trauma, so we can understand how to power through it.
Exactly, like how to heal, from this. Just observing someone else's process, Um, yeah, often we are not given those tools. So that's why I think storytelling is so important because there are so many unique situations. Um, and a lot of situations that we think are just like, something that's just happened to us, but then you find out there's a wider community of people who share that experience. So yes, you've been doing a lot, okay? It doesn't just stop at the book. Okay. Katonya has been making, what shall we call them, gift packages or just presenting these beautiful ensembles of like caregiving supplies for moms in the NICU unit. Um, so what made you want to begin doing that?
Well, it all started with like creating the organization Connected Through 22. I wanted to give back in a way that I felt would be meaningful to others that are going through the journey. Not only did I feel like my story was like one of a kind, I also feel like I was not understood during the process of my journey. And when I started to learn about the statistics of premature birth, I wanted to not necessarily change. I know I can't personally change statistics, but I wanted to change how people felt. As a mom, as a woman, I felt alone. So I wanted to change that. I wanted families and moms to be seen and be heard throughout their journey of trauma. Um, During a situation like having a premature birth and spending a extensive time in the NICU, my son spent 180 days in the hospital. You don't feel like it's a time and a need to celebrate life, and it should be because you just gave birth to a baby, regardless if the baby has multiple medical conditions in care. But there's still time that you should be celebrated. The baby should be celebrated. So I wanted to give back to families, provide them with essential items they would necessarily receive in the at a baby shower. So I do diaper cakes primarily on a quarterly basis, but for the month of March, for the first quarter, I would like to give back to the moms in honor of like of Women History Month. So they can feel
Yes.
seen, they can feel heard, and they can feel uplifted in the way that they need to be. Every day you're fighting for life in a unit in the of the NICU. So this is a way I feel like I can give back and help them feel seen and heard.
Yes, everyone, there is a Amazon wish list, I believe. So I'm going to link that in the description of this episode, but definitely go check out that Amazon wish list and help Katanya bring, some comfort to the moms. I know that must like mean a lot, you know. Um, so let me go see what my next question is. So you kind of already covered like why you started Connected Through 22. So let's get into the writer aspect of it. Did you always know that you were going to write a book or that you wanted to write a book? Is this your first book? I should have looked that up.
It is actually. I did not know I wanted to actually like embark in this journey of life. Um, Throughout the journey in the NICU, I would journal every day, write down questions that I have for the doctors and the nurses. And also, I would jot down like my feelings throughout the journey, not knowing that that was actually like the blueprint of my book. But midway, I would say I knew there was something I wanted to do. I just didn't know exactly what at the time, like what it was, that I was going to actually start doing. And once Kareem was discharged from the hospital, and I started to feel like something was missing, I wanted to tap back into like, what is it that I can do to give back in that aspect. I started to look back in my journals and then realize like, wow, I think I can start writing a book from the journals that I have, because again, I've never heard a story like my own.
Mm.
And I really felt like God had placed me in this position for many reasons, and some reasons I still don't know.
I'm sure they will continue to reveal themselves, as you go on. That's how the journey goes. But, we have been blessed with your creative ideas for sure. And the way that you've, taken that pain and turned it into something that can help other moms is really beautiful. You know, that's awesome. And it's like sometimes you're thinking like, wow, it's enough to go through the experience, but then to come out on like and through that experience and just continue to give your gifts to the world is like such a blessing. So, um, so what would you say is the most rewarding part of your work?
Ooh, the most rewarding part. I would say honestly, allowing that mom or that family to feel seen and heard by my donations of me giving back to them. Because again, when you're in a situation like having a premature baby and not knowing if your child is going to survive or not in the early stages, you are really fighting for life every single day. Um, so for me, it's really allowing the families to feel seen and feel heard throughout that journey, and to let them know that they're not alone. That's the most rewarding part, because I know for me, I think that was kind of like one of the biggest challenges, um, to feel seen, to feel heard, and to know that I'm not alone in this. There's a plethora of families, friends, organizations, and just moms like myself that are here for you throughout the journey.
That's one question that just came to my mind is when you were going through this experience, were there any like what was your support system like? Or were there any like resources or, organizations or even like within family or friends that you tapped into for some extra strength and support?
That's a really great question. I can say throughout my journey, I did connect with other families in the unit. Um, it took a while because, during the time you just kind of want to keep your head down and focus on your own situation. But because we were there for so long, I got a chance to actually connect with other families, which I felt was the most meaningful and the most impactful um, village I created during that time, because I can be open and honest about my feelings. I have family and friends that supported me, of course, but I felt like the family and friends who did not experience the journey would always try to tell me how to feel, how to think, how to speak, even during times when I just wanted to be openly honest about, hey, today's just not a great day. I don't know if he's going to make it, and it was always, don't speak that way, speak life. And yes, you want to speak life and you want to speak positivity, but also you want to acknowledge your feelings
Yeah.
and not suppress them, because they're going to show up again in life. So you want to acknowledge that. So the most meaningful was the connection with others. And then March of Dimes. There are the biggest organization that support premature birth families. So there was a March of Dimes coordinator within the unit at the time. So she would provide different events, host different events. And once I got comfortable and open to being around other people, and I started to attend those events, which I think were very helpful and meaningful during the time.
That's
And
awesome.
one other, I'm so sorry. One other, the Ronald McDonald Charities. Some facilities have a actual Ronald McDonald House. At the time when I was in the hospital facility we were at, there was a Ronald McDonald room that I was able to go to, and in that room there were free laundry. So you could bring your clothing to do laundry, a shower, um, to bathe. There was free food, snacks. So it was actually an escape where I can go and breathe, watch TV. The NICU unit don't have any TVs, windows, no windows. So it was a place where I can kind of go, breathe, eat, recharge, and quote unquote the way I could at that time, and then go back to the unit.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. You never know who might hear this one day and need that information or know, what kind of organizations support moms um, during that premature birth time. So thank you. Yes. Y'all heard? Okay. Organizations to go support. And of course, connected through 22. Okay. Start there. Go up.
Right.
Um, what do you wish more people understood about the NICU mom experience?
Hmm. I wish people under. I wish people knew that it's not just a chapter; it's a lifetime. Um, it changes you in ways that I can't describe. Um, it makes you kind of see life in a different way, in a different lens. Um, and it makes you appreciate the smallest things in life. It really do. And it places you on a different journey. I feel like it puts you on a different sector of the planet, so to speak. Um, you can see things and hear things differently. And you walk around, no matter how long your journey is, if it's a day, if it's 200 days, it really changes life, and it makes you think and appreciate things just in just a completely different form. And
Mm,
and I think it also brings out the gift in you in ways that others don't understand. I truly believe, like I said, that I was placed in this situation to carry and to bring out my passion and my purpose.
mm.
As I heal and as I grow in life.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, there are some experiences in life where it's just like, if you haven't been there, you don't know, you know? But it's always, good to, tell your story, write your story, so people can begin to understand and empathize and realize where more support is needed, even if that's not your experience. And that's one thing I'm really starting to learn about motherhood is that everyone has different experiences and you can still feel lonely in a room full of other moms. So thank you again. I will thank you like 20 times on this call. Okay. So how can people support your business right now?
Um, the best way you can support is by donating our quarterly fundraising events efforts. Again, we are trying to donate to the woman for the first quarter for March in honor of Women's History Month. I want to provide self-care packages to the moms so they can feel seen, loved, and supported in the NICU. The ongoing donations will be geared towards providing essential items to the baby, such as diapers, wipes, and those type of items. So the best way by donating is just helping us remind these women that they're not alone and they are loved.
Thank you so much for that, Katonya. Okay, so you got your marching orders, everyone, anyone who's listening. Okay, you know how to support, you know how to show up. And it has been my honor and my pleasure to have you on the show. And thank you for all you do and keep writing. keep telling your story. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure and an honor.